Hey folks, welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. Good morning. It is Saturday, July the 5th. Pretty stormy day out there, which will undoubtedly preclude outside chores. Not a bad thing to happen actually on a Saturday when there's boxing, so I'm not complaining. Today, of course, there's a pretty decent card that I'm interested in, headed by Harlem Eubank and Jack Catterall, but also with Joe Cordina, Crawler, Sky Nicholson, so there should be some good fights and interesting stuff to report out on later. Let me know who you have in that Eubank-Catterall fight. The odds are certainly in favour of Catterall, though I have a small pensioner's bet, if you like, on the underdog Eubank. So we'll see later on. But for the moment, I thought I would talk about something that's coming up next weekend. And that is the American debut of one of British boxing's up-and-coming stars, Hamzah Sheeraz. Hamzah Sheeraz is going to face, in New York, the New York-born Edgar Berlanga at Louis Armstrong Stadium in Queens, New York. And that headlines the Ring 3 event. Now, this may be a somewhat controversial statement, but in the eyes of this guy, Hamzah Sheeraz's disappointing performance against Carlos Adames back in February 22nd in Riyadh, I think that might actually, in the long term, be viewed as a moment that Hamzah Sheeraz reflected on and improved from. At least that's the hope. Let me explain. In my view, and I've said this before when chatting with you on this channel, young Hamzah Sheeraz, and I say young because he's only 26 now, and so this has been going on for a few years, right? Young Hamzah Sheeraz had been promoted and hyped to a point that, in my view, was a little bit too much. And they said, well, you're also a Riyadh season ambassador, which I think also put a lot of pressure on Hamzah Sheeraz. So Hamzah Sheeraz was, British lad from South London, but also a Muslim lad with a lot of pressure, to sort of represent certain communities, if you like. And I think that must have been, like I say, a lot of pressure, right? You've got Turkey Al Sheikh and the Saudis, saying, come on, you represent us, you're an ambassador. And you've got the Brits saying, come on, you're the face of modern British boxing, which is what Frank Warren has said. I think that must have, put yourself in that position. You're in your early 20s, you're having a great streak, a great run. It would be easy to believe your own press releases, right? And so when Hamzah Sheeraz came unstuck a little bit against Carlos Adames, I think that might have been a little bit of a reality check. Because I think, and I think a lot of other people think, that Hamzah Sheeraz was fortunate to get the draw against Adames. Adames goes home with his belt, Hamzah Sheeraz goes home with his O intact. And I suspect that Hamzah sat back, because very smart fellow, he comes across very smart, and probably thought, okay, we dodged a bullet there, let's refocus. And so I've seen now a few of his sort of public appearances. He did a good one the other day where he was out talking to New Yorkers. And I'm sensing, this is, of course, it's very hard to sense anything from watching somebody on YouTube, right? But I'm sensing a degree of confidence, of reality about Hamzah Sheeraz. And I'm beginning to get a good feeling for him. I think that we might be in for, if you're a Hamzah Sheeraz fan, a pleasant surprise on the 12th. And if you're an Edgar Berlanga fan, you might be in for a little bit of a disappointment. Because I'm seeing something in the deportment of Hamzah Sheeraz that I'm liking. I also think the extra £8 isn't going to hurt. I mean, it's still a miracle to me how a 6'3" man like Hamzah Sheeraz could boil himself down to 160. Oh, actually, some years prior, 154. The man must have hollow legs, like I've said before. So I am feeling a little bit confident. I mean, there's no doubt that this is Berlanga's hometown. Berlanga's a bully. Hamzah's going to have to get hold of him early. Hamzah has 2 inches longer reach, 2 years younger. Age isn't a factor. Berlanga's only 28. Yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling more confident in a Sheeraz good performance than I was. When this fight was first announced, I thought, really? But as I've thought about it, I'm sort of, dare I say, I'm becoming a bit more Team Sheeraz. I just want to see a good fight. But if I had to sort of, pick who I would like to win, yeah, I think I would like to see Sheeraz win. Will he win? I am developing a quiet confidence. I think what we'll have to do is we'll have to have a look at them at weigh-in, so nearer to next weekend. And then we can make a final assessment. But my tummy is actually feeling a little bit more confident about Hamzah. Now, a couple of things sort of are a bit worrying. One, no tune-up at 168. I mean, Frank Warren said he's coming straight in. He's not like, oh, can I have a gimme fight to bed in? He's going straight into the deep end. And he's fighting somebody, of course, whose only defeat has come at the hands of Canelo. So, and Canelo was very complimentary, of course, right? It's certainly not picking an easy path. Frank Warren also thinks, and I hope this doesn't sort of sit in Hamzah's head, because there's always a danger you start looking ahead, right? What did Frank Warren say? Frank Warren said, I'd love the Canelo fight for him. We would do that fight wherever it made most sense. So, a victory for Sheeraz could open the door for a colossal showdown with Alvarez, according to the Ring magazine. And that's a little bit of a fly in the ointment for me, because Hamzah Sheeraz, with a hard road to travel against Berlanga, who I think he might prevail, he can't be having any Canelo stuff in his head, because that's how things come unstuck. We've seen it so many times, right? I mean, Turkey's famous for this, for heaven's sake. Oh, yes, we'll do this fight, and then we'll do this fight. Yeah. How does that work out? I wish they would not speak about such things. It's almost like jinxing stuff. Anyways, there we go. I'm sort of turning the corner on Sheeraz, sort of going to be cheering for him a little bit, thinking he might be able to pull it off. Closer assessment nearer to the time, but that's how my tummy is right now. And then later on today, we'll reconvene and we'll see how Eubank and Catterall works out. Let me know what you think about the things that we're talking about here. And most importantly, have a fabulous day wherever you are. and enjoy the boxing if you manage to catch up with it. So I'll talk to you later. Have a great day. See ya. Bye-bye.